Hi, everyone. Growing up, I never wanted to be a scientist. I didn't really even know what it was. When I went to school, it always seemed like the most boring subject there was. And, it was mainly, when I was growing up, I really just wanted to play basketball and hang out with my friends. And it wasn't until I went to college, university, on a basketball scholarship that I needed a job. And as part of my financial aid package, and I just wandered to the nearest building to my dorm, and it was the biology building, and there was a job up there to work in the herbarium, which is this place where they store dead plants. And so I was like, okay, I can just glue plants onto paper whenever I want. So that's seriously my unglamorous story to becoming a scientist. And then I stayed in it because you have to work in a team, to be a scientist. I don't do anything alone. Nobody does anything alone. And I really liked the team aspect of being a scientist. I loved how we could do more things together. And it kind of reminded me of basketball and playing sports in a way. So that's how I became a scientist. I like computers and I liked biology. So somehow putting those together was a job. And so I thought, oh, that sounds good. But in retrospect, I think I would call myself just a biologist or something, because computational biology makes people think that I'm smarter than I am. So it's weird. I don't know. But that's what I call myself now. My whole existence on the planet at the moment is basically, I don't think that farmers should be hungry. I had this opportunity to kind of use the work I know about DNA and the computational stuff I was just giving a presentation about the work that I do. And there were some scientists from East Africa that said, hey, do you want to come to Kenya and use your computational skills to work with us on this plight to save cassava? So there's this plant that feeds 800 million people. And the majority of those people are in East Africa, and the majority of the farmers in Africa are women. And so for me, it really resonated with me that, oh my gosh, I have a skill and it can actually be useful. So just as this virus is hurting humans, there are viruses that really hurt plants. And so one of the things that farmers are dealing with every day is plants dying. And so one of the biggest things is, how do you diagnose this, right? Test. That's all we're hearing about now. And in East Africa, there need to be tests for plants as well. And so we've been able to take all of this cool technology out to farmers in the field and give them results real time about their plants being sick, which is great, but also then telling them what they need to plant and how, what they can do to actually increase their yield. Because our team cares about one thing only, and it's farmers having more food. That's our end goal, is these farmers need to have more food, and we need to use everything we can to help them get that. So we've had good success in our initial studies that farmers have gone from, sort of zero yield up to a lot to feed their families and also sell and have money. So we're really feeling happy about our tests so far. I just went, and I've loved every second of it, by the way. It's such a diverse, amazing continent full of music and food and life. And yes, we're doing science, but we have so much fun as well, like just being a team and trying new things. And yeah, so I really care about farmers having food. And I also really care about the fact that science is mainly run by white men. And I don't think that that should be a fact. I think that so many cool innovations come when there's everyone at the table. I hate being judged from where you come from. And I feel like African scientists are judged very harshly, and they're never at the table. And I just want to fight to make that change. I truly believe deep inside of me that we're never going to solve big problems by having white men at the table only. That's just not going to do it, right? And it's not just about this, it's not an emotional thing, right? It's emotional for me, but it's backed up by data as well, right? There are so many studies that prove that more diverse teams are more productive, solve bigger problems, have bigger dreams, you know, like the stuff that we've done, people told us we would never do it. How in the world are you going to do portable DNA sequencing on a farm in Africa with African scientists and women? We can't even do that in Cambridge. And we were just like, okay, yeah, okay, all right. I mean, one thing you probably shouldn't do is tell people they can't do something when they've already had this not great environment to begin with. So we just do it. Yeah. So, and the only reason we're able to do the things we do is because we're diverse and inclusive. Because you can have a diverse team, but the big part is the inclusive part, right? Like everybody's voice is there. If we're just able to be our true selves as scientists, and that makes us move forward in a really powerful way. And like, I don't want to do science unless it's with a diverse team. I just don't. It's just boring the other way. That's a really good question. So I am able to partner, and I do partner with people who work on human diseases. In the past, I've worked on influenza, and I've worked with hepatitis C and HIV. So at the end of the day, all of these organisms have DNA or RNA, and the genetic code is the same. So all of the skills I have to analyze data can be used for anything, really. So yeah, so the skill set is flexible depending on what's going on. That's a good question. And it's super smart. I felt at the time, I thought, if I can get good at analyzing data of any kind, right? Eventually somebody will, like, if I can get good at using computers to analyze data, it's a cheap way, you know, all you need is a computer to be productive. You know what I mean? I didn't need the big lab and the big stuff. I just thought, if I can get good at doing this, then hopefully I can get a job. And so far that's been okay. Yeah. It's a good idea to think about that. My advice is that it's way cooler when you get out of school. I don't even know if that's advice or what, but I always feel um like the and it's not, and I'm not saying anything bad about teachers who are doing their thing in the sciences or whatever, but I feel like I learned what it truly meant to be a scientist once I was out of that. Once I was out of the like structured part of learning the vocabulary and learning all the, you know, because at the time when you're taking science classes, it feels like, how does this ever going to impact the world? Like, what does this even mean? I'm learning about a cell. How is that going to help me in my day? You know what I mean? Like, it's this moment of like, this is just random stuff. But I feel like if you have any interest in it, stick in it, try it, be in it, and know that there are people ahead of you who are trying to make it more accepting of differences, right? Like there's this idea that science is for men or boys, and it's not for us, but it's for us. It's for us. We bring a really cool perspective to the team, right? And I'm not saying it's a group of people. You have men, you have women, you have all of the diversity there, and it's unfortunate that there are so few of us at the top. I mean, and it's rough. It's a rough game for us. We deal with a lot, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not doing this for no women to come behind. Let's go. My mom always told me, nobody can ever take away your education from you. Like, all these things can happen, but at the end of the day, you have this thing, you have some skills, and you have like some sort of certificate. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a PhD. I got a PhD, okay, yeah, whatever. But if you get certificates and you have skills to do something, nobody can ever take that away from you. So that's what kept me motivated, was like, this is hard, but once I get it, I did it. I did it. So that was my motivation. It's weird to think about the drive. I don't know, you know, some tasks and some moments in your life, you feel like Oh my gosh, seriously, what is this? I wanted to be successful. I wanted to use science. I wanted to do something. So I just kept working, even when it wasn't glamorous, right? Like I just thought, let me just get up every day, let me do my best at school, let me try my hardest, and let me just keep going. Like, and I think it all has to do with the fact that, like when you're on a basketball team or whatever, you don't want to let your team down. You don't want to be the person that is just constantly missing the ball or constantly missing every free throw. Like I felt like when I was on these teams with other scientists that I just wanted to do my part. I didn't want to let anybody down and I wanted to just keep going. So that's the best part about letting everybody be themselves when they're a scientist is like, there's different angles that other people see that you don't see. And all of our experiences bring us to that place and help us solve big, huge problems.